Hello everyone, it's Mita. I want to make this very quick because Mercury is retrograde and I'm not confident in my mic that is going to last for a long time, and so I'm going to make this quickly. But it's quite important that we talk about Jupiter in the 7th house. I have in the past spoken about this in depth, right? Not in depth, in depth. And I did mention that you must be always careful when it comes to Jupiter in the 7th house. Yes, Jupiter blesses marriage. Yes, Jupiter blesses relationships. Yes, Jupiter does a whole lot of wonderful things for a whole lot of people. But when it comes to the 7th house, Jupiter is having problems because we must remember that this is a house owned by Venus, and Jupiter and Venus are cordial but not necessarily at best, not necessarily best of friends, right? So, there's some respect there, but Jupiter at some point gets annoyed and irritated by some of the Venus ways and mannerisms. So in the 7th house, and Jupiter itself is problematic when it comes to commitment. We must remember that because Jupiter represents both houses that are about traveling. Jupiter is representing the 9th house. It is all about travel and moving around, up and down, moving from one country to another country, visiting, voyage, worships, going from one church to another church, going from one stadium to another stadium, motivating people. And the 12th house is about foreign settlements, whereby you move from one country into another country, right? Or you move from your home into a hospital, move from your home into an isolation. So it is all about movement. And therefore, when we talk about Jupiter and commitment, guys, we must just be realistic. Jupiter is not about commitment. It is about blessing. So if you want marriage, Jupiter is going to bless you and say, okay, I'll give you marriage, but don't rely on me for it to last for a long time. Rely on certain, look at certain for such things. Me, I give you the good things you want. Me, I give you your wishes, your dreams, your blessing. I bless you. But if it lasts long, ooh la la, don't even rely on me for that. Look at your certain ways, your certain placed in your chart. Then you will see that whatever I'm giving you as Jupiter, it will be a long-lasting blessing or not. So when it comes to the 7th house, many a times you guys obviously know I deal with relationships. That's what I focus on most of the time. Like 90% of my work is based on relationships, whether it's about relationships between people intimately, or between institutions, between countries, between diplomats. That's all what I do, relationships, right? And then obviously with the rest of the 10% or 5%, I do focus on other interesting parts of astrology, mostly the parts that are not touched by people, such as posthumous and all of these things. Anyway, coming back to the Jupiter part, I have seen so many times, too many times to count, whereby it would be in the 7th house, but relationships don't last. because it's not about commitment. It's about blessing you with the experience of that thing. Now, in instances whereby there is a retrogression happening, whereby the Jupiter is retrograde, this process will take a bit longer to show or to come into fruition, which is, quickly dissipating when it comes to the relationship itself, or whereby there is an aspect of Saturn and Venus, so as is the case of this chart here that we are looking at. This is the chart of the president of Russia. This is the chart of Mr. Vladimir Putin, right? He is a Libra ascendant with the Venus on his ascendant, which explains why he's incredibly attractive. And of course, he's got the Pluto, Lilith, and Ketu in his 10th house of career, public status, and profession, which again, it gives him, that masculine, attractive, powerful aura around him because of that Pluto there in that 10th house. Now, again, just to remind everyone, when it comes to Ketu, that wherever it sits, as I've been preaching and I've been urging you to not reject yourselves or be worried, wherever Ketu sits, you will get that thing. And of course, for him, is in the public status and profession, career, and of course, he's the highest of the highest persons in his career, right? So again, always look at your chart. Never just look at Ketu alone and say, oh my gosh, I'm never going to have this thing. I have to reject this thing. I have to abandon this thing because there's Ketu here. I will never have it. No. I have proven it to you guys many times now. I have strengthened your subconsciouses when it comes to this, that wherever Ketu sits, you are meant to have that thing. And of course, as I always say, look at the chart, all the aspects. Every chart is different, but this is what I can assure you. And back to the Jupiter. His Jupiter is in the 7th house and it's just retrograde. However, it's receiving the opposition from Venus, which is obviously in its own comfortable sign there. So the Venus there is working 2 times, is working, for him in terms of giving him all that, giving him all that beauty and the charm and just... That guy, guys, that guy is hot. That President Putin, he's just... I think most of the times, other presidents, they don't just despise him because of his because of his power in politics, but maybe they also are jealous of him. Maybe they are jealous of how he looks, maybe, And he's like, what now? He's like 73 years old. And he still looks very better, much better than most, or if not all, presidents that are currently sitting in their positions. Like, he's just like a guy that was blessed with everything. Literally, the looks, the power, the charm, the diplomacy, the calmness, the intelligence. he's just literally just born to be number one, and he's been number one, and all the haters have been hating, on him. And of course we understand, no one can compete. But he was married since 1983, and he got divorced in 2013 because Jupiter is in the 7th house. He is destined to divorce with a Jupiter. A Jupiter in the 7th house, I don't care who you are, it will separate you from your lover. And of course, if your chart allows for a reconciliation, a reunion, or maybe, separation by death, which could be earlier than, most usual cases, but there is a freedom that the Jupiter in the 7th house needs and requires, and it will be gotten one way or the other. I've seen this. And of course, with the retrogression, it's taking a long time for him to experience this freedom that this Jupiter requires from the 7th house here. 30 years, right? And they did release a statement with his ex-wife stating that they had not been able to see each other because of his political activities, political endeavors. So that's what they said, right? So we're just gonna run with that because la la la, right? So anyway, what I do see here is, of course, with the Venus looking at his 7th house, he was able to stay longer in the marriage. And of course, with also the retrogression of that Jupiter, he was able to stay longer in the marriage, which is why, 3 decades, 30 years, yeah. Now, when it comes to Mr. Putin, we know he's got many enemies. He's got enemies everywhere. Like the whole world is just, hating on this guy. And I must say that when I look at his chart, I do see danger. Of course, there's been danger. There's always been danger around him. I mean, this guy, Russia, always danger, right? But it is quite heightening now, according to his chart, and everything is alleged, of course, astrology, speculation, research purposes only. That's the goal. But his chart is highly indicating danger right now, and within the 6 months, I see quite a lot of attempts. People like that don't like him, his enemies, are just trying by all means to silence him, to shut him out, to shut him up or shut him out, right? And I do see they could also attempt to use a woman, a female figure, to terminate him or to injure him. So I do see that. So of course, he's got the highest intelligence team and the highest security team. Definitely, they're going to protect him, right? They have to. But I do see that danger, and highly possibly a female figure is going to be sent to this, or through a female figure, or in connection with a female figure, but definitely they are going to try to do that. I see that even this week they could be like planning stuff, or and then maybe they attempt something in the next couple of days to come to next week, up to next week. But this 6 months is critical for the president of Russia. And of course, if we have to like have a light heart, I just feel like they're just jealous of how he looks, of how he's always been powerful and attractive, just to make the topic light and not so heavy. But anyway, yeah, so that is the Jupiter thing. And of course, I do see, yeah, whenever he travels, of course, I mean, they do take precautions, but whenever he travels, he must be highly alert. His security team must be highly alert. Or whenever he goes into a foreign country, or when he's surrounded by foreign people, his security team must definitely be on high alert. And it could be they could use something by hand, like maybe a weapon that is carried by hand, or a medicinal thing that is transposed by hand. Or by air. So what I'm trying to think by air is something like you do that, like something you blow, right? Maybe you blow from the hand, something like that, right? I don't know if there's something like, I don't know if there's a weapon like this, like a chemical weapon like this. I don't know. I would have to Google. Maybe something like, you put on the hand and you like blow like that. Like maybe, I don't know. I have never seen this. What I'm seeing from this chart, I have never seen. I mean, it's a possibility, so I would have to Google what could that be. Because I'm reading this chart and I'm seeing a hand, I'm seeing possibly air, spark of fire, stuff like that. But I mean, these guys, like when we talk about presidents, we are talking about high intelligence here. So we're not talking about chaotic organizations, chaotic security. We're talking about high security here. So definitely he's got the best security. Definitely he's got like the highest security. So definitely they're going to always be one step or two steps ahead of these things. So I don't think there's something to worry about much, but you're just to take precautions due to what I see from the chart. And definitely, obviously, check everyone around who's coming, in his vicinity. Definitely, for sure. So speaking of, political figures and all these things, let's also look at what could be happening, what would be happening in the headlines in the news in these coming days. Maybe we can start from today because it's still early. It's like it's 20 to 5 in the morning. It's the 11th of November, 20 to 5 in the morning, so I can talk about it. I mean, there hasn't been much happening, and in America it's still yesterday. They still on the 10th, so we can talk about stuff that will be happening today. So what I do see happening from today until let's say tomorrow, the 12th, so 11th and the 12th, I do see some sort of, cruelty experienced through or by a leader. And definitely, President Putin must be careful. Like, his team must just be awake more than usual now. They must be like, if they were like 10 times awake, now they need to be like 50 times awake. Now, I do see, it's like there's going to be a fall of one leader for the other leader to rise. So it's like maybe one leader resigns and the other leader rises up, or the other leader disappears and the other one comes up, like even in power. And so this is why I would like this security team of Mr. Putin to be on high alert, because you wouldn't want anything to happen to him so that there's somebody else who's risen up into the power. So I do see something like that happening, and it could also be including or involving or they It could also be speaking to, involving, including, known to, known about, related to, friends, or Mr. Donald Trump. Right, okay. So I do see that obviously there must be transformation that is experienced. So this could be the beginning of that transformation, which is starting, I could have started already actually even yesterday, but highly visible for today. And so it's like a change of power that needs to happen. There's a power that needs to transform. So when we talk about power, we're talking about, our leaders, and there's a test of morality. So they could use also a moral compass to judge a certain leader, a certain figure, public figure, so that to say, okay, you were not honest in this, and therefore we are judging you in this way. So I do see something like that. And when it comes to the 12th until around the 14th, I do see some peaceful some peace. Actually, from the 12th until the 13th, I do see some peaceful, stuff happening, whereby maybe there are diplomatic meetings now between head of states or between their people, particularly the northern countries, the northern states. So that would be like, your Americas, your UK, I do see some sort of diplomatic meetings happening, and they could be about gaining some clarity on a matter. So they are looking for direction. So the meeting is going to be about understanding what needs to be done going forward. So gaining some clarity there. They are going to be talking about Russia, definitely. They're going to try to find a way to balance things. So it's all about balance. So the meeting is about this. They're trying to balance something out here. They'll actually be successful. They're going to find an answer or a solution to what they are trying to get to today, these days, 12th and 13th. What I do see from the 13th, I would say, until the 14th. No, from the 13th until the 15th, what I do see here. So there's some hidden information. Okay, so there's a secretive information that is going to be shared through a woman or by a woman, and it is intended to manipulate. It's intended to manipulate at this time. I do see some sort of calculations, like planning. Okay, so I do see planning, some plans here that are designed towards creating chaos and accident. Actually, with this Mercury retrograde, I wouldn't be shocked again, if we hear quite a lot of accidents, particularly whereby people misjudge. Maybe you're driving and then you misjudge your steps, figuratively. The 14th and the 15th, I do see dangerous communication or incitement of violence, but through communication. So maybe an email is sent out. That also, makes us to be aware in our relationships as well, to be vigilant on these days when it comes to our intimate relationships. So there's communication. So when it comes to America. It could, okay, so there could be communication that is set out or done either by America or towards America at this time, and it is a planning of injure someone or to injure something. You could be injuring the building, like destroying a building, or destroying a person by weapon. So when we talk about weapons of destructions, I'm also thinking about also maybe these nuclear stories, nuclear things, you know. Oh. Yeah. Careful around the head. Careful around the head. And from the 15th until the 16th, I don't necessarily like this day because I don't like this day. A lot of people are trying to be two-faced, showing two sides, but also hiding some danger in their communication or actions or movements. So I don't like that day. There is going to be scandal or news, relating to using seduction to destroy someone. Using seduction to destroy someone. To destroy a leader. So a scandal, maybe a woman is exposed for, trying to seduce a public figure, government body leader, head of state, stuff like that. So there's like an attempt to destroy somebody's reputation here by tempting them or placing them in a very tempting way. So of course we're talking about a public leader. So that's going to be on the news. I don't necessarily like the 15th and the 16th. It's quite a dangerous day, actually. I don't care much for it. It's too dangerous for my liking. Now, from the 11th until the 13th, there will be news about Iran. And there will be news about Iran. Of course, there has been... I told you guys that I was seeing some, news relating to nuclear. And indeed, after that, we saw some news regarding to nuclear and all sites and everything. But I do see on the today, between today and the 13th and the 13th, regarding to Iran, some news. It's going to be about their resources. We have been obviously reading about the decrement of their water supply. I mean, this has been here for months now. So they're going to push that story again between the today and the 13th. They're going to push that. But in fact, there is something that they could be building, Iran, which will be helpful to their country. So that's visible here. And it's going to be powerful. Transformative, so it could be a site of some sort, a site to build something that will be resourceful to them, to their country, to defend their country, because it's about defense. So whatever they're building, it's going to help them defend their country for sure. USA is not going to be happy about that. That's for sure. I do see though that from the 15th and to the 17th, there could be a rising tension between Iran or Israel, USA. Actually, that's already been confirmed, and it's something that I talked about, I think, weeks back. I just need to find that transcript, and it's happening, but I see it again, increasing, that tension. So that's what I see. It's really about resources. So I don't want to talk about, I see so many things about the US, and I don't want to talk about that for now. And I'm going to say thank you. I'll chat to you soon. I'll be in the show.